Davis, forget the injury, was not having a very good year for him offensively. And we were expecting more. Is it fair to say that he's a talented guy, but he's never a one? He's just the best two in NBA history. He doesn't have a one mentality. This was going to be the year. And he's played poorly offensively. Maybe that's just who he is.
Listen, if you understand basketball, you understand the game, and on a three-dimensional basis, Anthony Davis has never, I repeat, he has never been a number one guy in the NBA. He is a beta. He is a star player in this league. He is not a superstar, but he is a star player. But he is not a number one guy to lead you to a championship. As we've seen with New Orleans, if he's a number one guy, he can take you to the first round, potentially take you to a second round, and other times they're going to miss the playoffs. If you pair Anthony Davis with a guy better than him, a la LeBron James, they are top favorites, if not top favorite, top two favorites to win the NBA championship. And even though Anthony Davis was a huge piece for the Lakers last season, especially in the bubble, taking on that offensive responsibility, he was not the number one impact player within that team. It was LeBron James. Even LeBron James took a step back offensively and played more of a point guard role and gave Anthony Davis the ball. LeBron James was the number one impact player. He won Finals MVP for a reason. Now, that was due to Anthony Davis having two back-to-back games that were subpar and not that well. But LeBron James has always been the impact player, the most valuable player on every single team he's played on. And with the LA Lakers, Anthony Davis in this situation, there's three people you gotta blame. Number one, Frank Vogel, Dennis Schroeder, and LeBron. Frank Vogel has pretty much given into the demands of Dennis Schroeder of putting him as a starting point guard and putting LeBron to the three. What does that do? That brings LeBron James' assist numbers down, which we've seen. He's only giving you 7 to 8 assists a night, when last season he would give you a career high of 11. Dennis Schroeder is number 3 most shot attempts within the LA Lakers. He doesn't feed AD the ball as well. And that puts more pressure of Anthony Davis to where he's not getting the ball as much. He has to have more of a defensive mindset, which he does have a defensive mindset, but more responsibility because you don't have JaVale McGee out there anymore as defensive ager or Dwight Howard, and you have Marc Gasol. So I've always stated I don't like the Lakers starting five. I always wanted to have LeBron continue to be the point guard. You need to bring Wesley Matthews at the 2 starting, KCP at the 3, AD at the 4, and then Marc Gasol at the 5. That way, you can have LeBron James bring up the ball, feed AD as it needs to be. LeBron still has a career high in assists, and Anthony Davis needs to bump up to around 28 to 29 points a night. But that hasn't been the case for the LA Lakers, and it messes up the flow of things for them, having Dennis Schroeder as a starter. Schroeder needs to come off the bench as a 6-man. That would be most ideal for the Lakers' traditional starting lineup.
No, I think the 71 days, the shortened season, he didn't understand it. Probably partied a little bit too long. Didn't come in probably the best shape possible. When we first saw him go to the Lakers, he was spending a lot of time with LeBron. You saw a lot of videos, a lot of Instagrams of them being in the weight room together. And I'm not saying I don't have insight to say that they're not doing that. But I felt like that just watching him, that he was not the same guy that we saw finish off in the bubble last year and play great in the playoffs. And to be great and to be one of the elite players in this league, every year you got to add a little something. You got to continue to get better. That's why the Kevin Durant's, the Steph Curry's, the LeBron James, the James Harden, those guys do it for 5, 6, 7, 8 years at a time because they continue to add things to their game. And right now we're not seeing that. But also you got to remember this too about Anthony Davis. He's always been injury prone. Always. And I think that's the reason why he signed a 5-year deal, because he knows he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to put that. He doesn't want to.
Well, no, not just that. Come on. I mean, listen, you just came off a championship. You're the second best player not in the world. You're the second best player with the Lakers who just won a championship. You're a star player in your prime at 27 years of age. You're going to get the max extension, not just because of quote-unquote injury prone. He just proven within one season with the Lakers he was not injury prone, and he won a championship. Dominant fashion.
Put a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal on his body. So his pain tolerance is probably not very high. So LeBron James done a good job last year of keeping him focused on playing and not missing a lot of games. But they're going to miss him. And then you're going to have to wait till he gets back into basketball shape to make a real run. So him being out really hurts the Lakers as far as longer term because you got to get him right if LeBron wants to win another title.
Yeah, great stuff today, Antoine. 12 years in the NBA, a three-time All-Star. I'm not sure if I've had you on before, but you make a lot of really interesting points. And a Chicago guy living in the city.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully they'll I think they've opened up restaurants a little bit in Chicago. Once this cold spell is gone, you can go out and go to Chicago Cut and Steak 48 and live it up a little.
And on that point, a couple NBA topics we covered here today. Most important, Anthony Davis will be a loss for the LA Lakers. LeBron James will happily take on the responsibility of putting more pressure on himself, putting more responsibility offensively, and trying to get things done, especially to win that regular season MVP within a season. The LA Lakers, they're going to have some bumps within this season, especially within this month, but the end goal, I fully expect them to come out of the Western Conference. Not batting an eye on that. End it off there.